This Liberty Sports Update is brought to you by Beacon Credit Union.
Good to see you guys. It's we enjoyed the off week. It was very, very, very much needed for our football team. We were extremely beat up. Fortunately, it's nothing that is long term. We feel like we have a chance to get everyone back before the game this Saturday. So that's our hope. That particularly defensively. The only offensive guy we really had was Sam, and he practiced yesterday. So I think we're all good there. We needed it recruiting-wise to kind of regroup. Recruiting is going extremely well. Liberty is a place that sells itself once you get families on campus, and our staff has done a good job of selling our vision of what this place can become. And so it was good for us to get on the road. Kind of get updates on all of our committed kids, and also, see what else is out there that may fit our needs. And then it was good to get a little rest too. Unfortunately, most of our coaches didn't get to, but I was able to get caught up on a lot of things in the office and in recruiting, and at the same time get some rest, and hopefully it'll help me for the rest of this year. So, in my mind, we're beginning season 2. Our kids hear me talk about that. I always segment the season into 3 different categories, and this is season 2 for us. And we're 0-0, and got a 4-game stretch, 3 of which are on the road. And we start off at home against a Maine football team that is a scary team to me. They know how to win. Final 4 team last year in the 1AA ranks or the FCS ranks, and you return their offensive coordinator to head coach Nick Charlton, who's one of the bright young minds in football, and just a scary team. Every game they've been right there. They're right in every game, and those are the kind that just scare you. They know what they're doing. They're extremely well coached. Offensively, we're a little uncertain what's going to happen at the quarterback spot. Their starter had an injury last week. He did not return to that game, but we've got to kind of now prepare for 2 different type quarterbacks. Ferguson and number 12 came in and is more of a dual threat type guy. So we're a little uncertain what to do there. 81's Edwards is extremely impressive. He's got 2 kicks this year. Returned for touchdowns. He's also their most talented receiver that we have to be aware of and know where he's at all times. And then Fitzpatrick's an extremely physical runner. You have to gang tackle him, and one guy, he usually gets his 4. So we've got to do a great job against him. They're very multiple offensively. They have a good scheme. They do a good job of making you defend everything. And defensively, number 5, Mitchell, I think's one of the better tackles we faced all year. He can play for most anyone. He's that talented. And again, just an extremely well-coached defense that they haven't given up a ton of points. And so, our challenge is for our kids to take whatever season 1 brought to us, the good and bad, and forget all of it. And get ready for season number 2. And it starts with a home game, which is very, very critical for us in this season because of the stretch of games we have after it on the road. So this is a critical game in our season in my mind, and that's the only one that I, really look at as the next one. But, I want our kids' work ethic this week. That's why we practiced yesterday, which we normally don't do on Sundays. But I really wanted to get after it and kind of set the tone for this season.
Coach, I know a lot of the future opponents for you guys this year were on TV Saturday. Did you get a chance to watch some of those games, or how did you spend your Saturday?
I think the greatest invention in my lifetime is TiVo. I really do. I TiVo so many games. I don't always get to go back and watch all of it, but I have them there in case I do have time. But I was able to see, most of our opponents. Maybe not the entire game, but to see some of that, and then watch some of my friends coach, obviously, and see some good quality football, and have my notepad there in case there's something I see that's new and different. I enjoy those Saturdays. I'm not sweating making decisions whether to go for it on fourth down or what play to call here on third down, or so those are nice to watch other people do that and you not have to. So it was a restful Saturday. My wife made me soup, which is my favorite. I love soup, and a vegetable soup, and I probably ate 5, 6, 7 bowls of it all day long. But I ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it was a good day.
When you watch Maine in their game Saturday against Richmond, second half was big plays that Richmond was able to get some chunk yardage, and that's been kind of the Achilles heel for Maine this year. Is that something that you're looking to possibly exploit?
Well, we always are going to, watch explosive plays against the opponent and see if any of those things fit into our scheme that we think we can be advantageous for us. I think explosive plays are where points are easily made if you can have some of those. It's very difficult for an offense to just go 75 yards over and over again without making a mistake somewhere that puts you behind the chains. And explosive plays really lends to points typically. So it's like I said, their last few games they haven't given up many, and you need explosive plays to try to manufacture some points.
In the past few weeks, complementary football has been kind of a key theme for you, especially with this defense. Offensively, when you look at your red zone production, rank, I believe, 125th in the nation in efficiency there. Is that something that would help the complementary football by finishing these drives with scores so that way you're not putting as much pressure on the defense?
Yeah, since the Buffalo game, I think we've had chances to put every game away offensively without having to sweat it out in the fourth quarter by having to complete a 4-minute drive that runs the clock out in the last two. And, that's disappointing that we haven't. It's hard to score in the red zone, tight red zone, particularly if you're not effective in running the ball down there. And people have played us a little different with AGG, which is we've got to have better plans at sometimes too. But, it's always disappointing when you don't score touchdowns in the red zone. On the other hand, the bottom line is find a way to win the game, and our kids have done that. So when we had the truth about the season one, that was part of the truth. Is the good is you found a way to win. The bad is it shouldn't have come to that. We as coaches and you as players, we've got to be more efficient in the red zone.
Season number 1 in the books.
Yep.
Season number 2 getting ready to start. Have you addressed any specific areas from season 1 that you feel like need the most help?
Yeah, every area was addressed. If not with our players, it's certainly with our coaches. And we went through every, what I thought our deficiencies were, what I thought our strengths were. And we praised the good things and say, here's where we've got to. And so always at the midpoint of the season, our coaches had to present to me, and as do every department, strength, recruiting, doesn't matter. Everyone has to present to me what I consider to be our P7 plan. And it has on there the KPIs, which is our key performance indicators, and they have to list, what the news says. And the news is what it is in football. You don't have to worry about it being fake news. I mean, it is what it is. You look at the stats, that's who we are, that's what we did. And so what areas do you not like about your area in recruiting or in defense or offense or special teams? And so what are the KPIs that would change that? And then what's your plan to change the news? So that was presented to me today by every area of our program, academically, the whole deal. So we've got a plan to attack the deficiencies. And sometimes it's, this is who we are, and we need to quit trying to do this because it doesn't fit our skill sets. If that's the plan, then that's a plan. Then let's don't do it anymore. But if we're going to continue to do some of the same things, what's our plan to change what the news says? And we have to understand the news first. And then once you understand it, you can have a plan to change it.
They're -10 in turnovers, Maine is, but
I'm sorry?
If I read it right, they're -10 in turnovers, Maine, but they're also have 14 fumbles forced. They've only gotten one of them. Is that a stat that still gets your attention, even though they're not recovering fumbles? They're forcing a lot of them?
Doesn't matter to me really how many they've forced, because our emphasis on ball security. Our offense is number one. If you ask our kids, it's all about the ball, and I don't care who we're playing. Yesterday we did ball security drills just like we'll do tomorrow and just like we'll do Wednesday, and it's all about taking care of the ball, which to this point we've been pretty decent at. So, I don't blame them for trying to take it. It's our job to protect it, though.
Trayshawn Clark's a young defensive end that seems like he's getting better each and every week. Had a really good game against New Mexico State. Do you look at him as someone that can, continue to take that next leap and next step as you go into season 2?
I do. I think he's, I think he's Jesse. A freshman Jesse that we're thrilled that we have. I think he's a dynamic, explosive young player that is only going to get better. And he's a great kid, too. And he's just he represents our program extremely well, and I think the ceiling is extremely high for him.
What concerns you most about Maine when you look at them heading into the weekend?
Truthfully, it's us that concerns me. It's I do believe that handling failure and handling success are equally as hard. I don't think that that either are easy for young men to handle, and particularly if you believe everything that you read, or you give it credence into somehow defining who you are as a person or as a team. In your failures or in your successes, they both are your enemy, in my opinion. And so I think, where we are right now, there's just a lot of I guess complacency is an absolute enemy of a great program, and I could be convincing myself that there's more of that than there is, but my guard is up and my antenna is up for that in coaches, in players, and we respect every opponent, and we respect Maine, and they can beat you. They can beat us Saturday right here. They're good enough and well coached enough to beat you. But I want us to control how we prepare for it, and the mentality that we have and the focus that we have in preparation, and then it should show in the way we play.
Team's schedule look like last week during the bye week? Did they get extra time off?
Yes. So we got back early Sunday morning. They had all Sunday off other than treatment. And then we treated Monday like a Sunday, so it was just film, no practice. Then we practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday our coaches hit the road, and Dom and I we just had a conditioning session with them Thursday. And then they had all Friday and Saturday, and then we had a abbreviated Tuesday practice yesterday.
You touched briefly on the fact that the coaches do have to hit the road. How does that new recruiting phase really affect you guys, and the fact that you're still balancing the season and not losing sight on that, and at the same time not wanting to fall behind in recruiting?
The recruiting calendar is something I'm not a big fan of. They didn't really ask my opinion. This is kind of new to me, but do I like the December period? So I'm going to double talk a little bit, which I'm not a fan of. I'm great with the December signing period, but I'm not a fan at all of all these visits during the season and in the summer. We don't have enough time with our kids on our team as it is, and it seems everything is just expedited, and you have to, and we got more official visits coming this weekend, and I barely get to spend time with them. Sunday morning I'll get to see them a little bit, and maybe a little bit, Friday night at the hotel, but it's not ideal. It's the calendar that we've been handed, and I really don't like the summer. I was opposed to that, so we didn't bring any in the summer. I said, man, we don't see our families enough as it is, and we're not fixing to do official visits in the summer right now. So I wish we could not offer any kid until after August of their senior year, and then any points you can offer them after that, and they can sign right then. You have 48 hours to send them the papers, and we'd cut out all the who's really committed and who's really got an offer, and but I doubt that will ever happen. But it would cut out a lot of the drama that's kind of played out in recruiting. You would know right away if I'm a player what staff is serious because, hey, I want to commit and send me the papers. We got to send the papers if we really are committed to him, and he'd send them back if he's really committed to us, and then he can take his official visit after that. But that's kind of just a dream, I think.
Coach, you guys are playing really well right now, 4 wins in a row. Do you worry that your team might start to feel too good about itself, and how do you kind of bring them back down to earth?
I don't like to use worry because I think that is against my faith, and I don't think but is my guard up of every distraction that possibly could come to a football team? I've done this too long I'd be foolish not to think that we could have some type of distractions. That's what I kind of refer to them as. I keep a distraction list in my notebook, and it's either of people or of that are a distraction to our football team or situations. And one that I'll always be concerned about is when you do have a little success, sometimes that can be an enemy in a kid's mind to where they think that they're at a point where that just should come naturally, and that's not the way football works. Just watch any Saturday. You see a team that has 1 win play a top team down to our 2 wins down to the wire or beats them. I mean, football is a humbling and a rewarding game at the same time, and so I'm very aware there could be some distractions.
You said earlier you're expecting all your defensive players back. Does that include the 3 secondary players and the 2 defensive linemen?
You'll have to give me some names, but secondary-wise, I expect everyone to be back. Defensive line, if you're referring to Lloyd and Green, we are trying probably to preserve their year. Don't know that we can. Don't write that I said that's done or anything. But our intentions, we're halfway through. If we could somehow save their year to give us depth moving forward in the D line, I think it'd be advantageous for us.
You get the sense this is a special game here for Joshua Mack this week, and not that he's not already motivated, but maybe a little bit more motivated coming into this one.
Yeah, I don't really buy into all that. I hope he's just focused and continues to get better in practice and in the games. I mean, kids are transferring all the time, and I don't know the history of his. If there's something there, I may need to find that out. That's if there's something that would make him in some way feel like this is he should treat this game differently, I will ask that question. That's a good question, but I hope he doesn't. I hope he just prepares the way he's been preparing and goes and plays, and and it's just another opportunity for him to carry the football, protect it for us, and rush for positive yards.
Special teams often gets overlooked unless there's a miscue, and then it gets everybody's attention. But how pleased have you been with your special teams unit, especially in these last 2 ball games and 1-possession games that can make or break a ball game?
Yeah, pretty pleased. They had dangerous returners at New Mexico State, and they could have hurt us a couple times. We outpunted our coverage a couple times, and that guy was very dangerous. I think our coverage units on the kickoff, Probert's been really good at putting them in the end zone, number 1, which is the best the defense of that. Our punt coverage has been really solid, except for those 2 times the other night. And Aiden has punted it where he needed to punt it most of the time. Field goal unit, I think, can continue to improve. But that was a big one he hit from 50 the other night, and the one from 51 was plenty, and it caught the upright. And so I think he's getting a little more confident. He changes his rhythm a little bit sometimes on some short ones that we've got to get him convinced to. It's like hitting a wedge in golf. You just take the same swing. It doesn't need to change because it's a little shorter or it's a different angle. But been pleased. Tanner's doing a good job. He brings a lot of energy to the special teams room.
along those lines, this weekend, you mentioned their returner Edwards. I mean, is that third phase potentially a big phase here of this ball game this week?
Yeah, they're all three big, and we'll have a plan for him. Tanner does a good job of formulating a plan for dangerous guys like that, and ultimately there'll probably come a time where we've got to tackle him. So our coverage guys have to do their job, but it'll be everybody. The punter putting it where he needs to punt it, and the kickoff guy putting it where our coverage is set up to be, and we'll have a good plan for him.
And having some time with the self-scout, self-evaluation, you say it's all about us. You've had some time now with the offense, particularly. Where were some of the issues that you guys hit on in the bye week to try to get better?
Well, I'm not going to go into all the issues, but I've looked at every tendency that we have offensively and defensively. And, coaches are creatures of habit, and, we have to force ourselves to try to break some of those tendencies, and that will be the goal in the first few games of this second season.
2 weeks ago, there was a big focus on changing Buckshot's footwork. And then this last week at practice, kind of noticed it was the same with both offense and defense collectively, having guys cutting to the side instead of stepping back, for the offense pushing routes inward instead of outside and down the lines. I mean, really, where are you taking that focus on those little details with both ends of the ball?
Yeah, well, the off week is great for that. Our O-lineman tracks were not great for the first half of the season. I want our O-linemen playing as square as they can to the line of scrimmage. And I want Buckshot's, step to his throws to be, exactly where that front toe needs to be and the exact width that is. And Kent's brilliant at all of that, and that's his gift. That's not my gift. That's really Kent's gift is that. And, we've seen improvement, but there's constant improvement needed. And the off week provided for us to look at every, step and track and, how do we get this better? And, is this a play that, that he feels good enough to continue to work on? Because, one of the things they print for me is the play efficiency chart. And when I look at something and it's 100% effective and we've run it 7 times, we probably need to run it more. And then when I look at one that we've run 45 times and it's only 20%, even though I might think it's a good play, it really hasn't been that good to us. So maybe we should kind of change the way we call the plays some. So we've looked at all of that and at the individual techniques involved in it.
As a play caller, having been away from doing it for a couple of seasons, has that come back as easily as you thought it might? Is there a certain rhythm you have to get into in that responsibility, and do you feel like it's coming back the way you thought it would?
Yeah, I don't think I was worthless the first 2 weeks. I really wasn't any help at all. I have a great staff, and I'm so thankful for them standing in the gap. And I really don't feel like I've called a great game yet, other than maybe Buffalo. It was a pretty well-called game. The others, I get caught between trying to manage and being as aggressive, and some of that's to do with Buckshot also. I just want him taking care of the ball, and we're fortunate to win the 4 games with me feeling like we haven't hit our strides yet offensively. I think we're close. I'll always believe that. I think you might see more tempo in a few of these games if we're healthy on defense, which I think would help me and Buckshot and our offense and our receivers. So I can't remember your question, but, play calling to me, I never really got away from the game. I was either consulting with somebody or watching games and just thinking through, well, this is, what I see. And now, defense is coaching too, and, they may win some battles with that, but I always do a drive chart after every game, and I have to, in every drive, I say what caused this drive not to produce points, and I'm very critical to take ownership if it was a scheme, if it was a call. If it's we missed a block on number 5, that's that's one thing. But if you see too many on there where it's, this just wasn't a call that gave us a great chance at success, that irritates me. And I don't want any after any game. And so we had a few of those in the last couple games, not many, but a few. And I need to get rid of those.
Coach, can you update us on your health? How are you? Are you back to getting pretty close to where you'd like to be?
No, I'm not. Pretty close would be I could go swing a 9-iron right now and feel good about it. But I'm not ready to do that. But every day is a little different. I feel great today. I walked a lot. I went out. Some of my buddies were playing golf in a tournament this weekend, and I can't play, but I went out and I walked, 6 holes, and just watching them. That was good exercise. Then I walked a lot yesterday. I find that walking is helping me. I like that better than some of the rehab. And but I feel really good today. I could push it maybe too much today, and it feel different tomorrow. I'm not all the way there, but I'm so much better, and I'm thankful to feel the way I do today.